We've got Jono Donald joining us from Athletes in Action. Jono, thank you for being a part of the show.
No worries, Di. Fun to be here.
That is so good. So let's talk Warriors because of all of the things that happened over the weekend, I heard a lot of praise about the Warriors. So tell us what went on, what happened, how did they win, all of that sort of thing.
Yeah, everyone loves a good Warriors story. I was actually just with a friend last night in the supermarket, and he pointed over to this section full of V cans, and there's a V can with the Warriors jersey on it, and it says "Up the Waz." So "Up the Waz" is everywhere. We're all about it. People are wearing the jerseys, they got the hats, and this year is a great year to be a Warriors fan. Currently, 10 wins and 3 losses, and they keep performing. You could argue that actually they had a really challenging week because in the week previous we lost one of our captains for the year. So Mitch Barnett, he tore his ACL, one of our best players, and he's gone for the whole season. But then you watch the game, and it was a complete annihilation. They ended up winning 40 points to 10, I believe. And that was over the Sharks, who are a good team. And so yeah, they keep going. And sometimes you might think, oh, it's just a good start, but we're halfway through the season now, and they're looking like a really competitive team. So I, for one, am just really enjoying watching the Warriors at the moment. If you're not a leaguey, now's a good time to get on the bandwagon halfway through the season, chip in.
I
Seems
think
like a good team.
I think the Warriors is the Warriors story. It's a great example of loyalty. Because
Mm.
there are some fans, fair weather friends, depending on how they go, whether they're interested or not. But for loyal Warriors fans, they love them through and through. Would you say that's the case? I sort of get that feeling compared to any other sports. People are so loyal to the Warriors.
Yeah, it's a bit tribal at times, in a really good
Mm.
way. People really get behind the team. And if you live in Auckland or North Island region, like I'd encourage you to head down to Mount Smart for a game sometime. I went last year, took my family, took my kids. We had an amazing time, and it's actually quite a cool stadium. Often you go to Eden Park, maybe you watch a Blues game, it's
Mm.
half full. You sort of feel, but you go to Mount Smart, it's always full. The people are passionate, and
Yeah.
this year, particularly, the team is really good.
Okay, well let's talk about the Blues and Super Rugby, the semi-finals right around the corner. So yeah, give us some details on this one.
Yeah, Super Rugby had their preliminary finals or qualifying finals, I think they called them. This year was an interesting new type where they had 3 playoff games, everyone played, and then the best of the losers gets to go through to the semi-finals. So that team that got to go through was the Chiefs. So Blues headed down, and they actually pulled the upset off over the Chiefs, scoring a try right on full time to win it. Incredible game, and the Blues have had a fairly average season at best, but they showed up and they really got the job done. And they're kind of looking like that team from last year that went all the way and won the championship. The Crusaders, they took care of business and destroyed the Reds. The Crusaders are kind of a scary team, actually. They are 30 wins and 0 losses at home
Oh
during the
wow.
playoffs.
Okay.
In their entire history, they've never lost a home playoff game. And because the Chiefs lost to the Blues and became that, I think it's called the lucky loser, the Crusaders now have home field advantage. So I would say that's the team to beat. The Crusaders will host the Blues next week, and the Chiefs will host the Brumbies. And the Brumbies got a pretty good win over the Hurricanes, actually, 35-28. I was surprised. I thought the Hurricanes might actually pull an upset there. But yeah, some really the pointy end of the Super Rugby competition, and exciting to see just good rugby being played all across the board.
Wonderful. So we'll go from rugby to netball. Yeah. How's the season going?
Yeah, netball's kind of hasn't had a lot of publicity, and I was thinking a little bit about it. They've cranked into their new competition, and so I've been checking in the last few weeks just to see what's going on with the ANZ Premiership. 6 teams across the country, and so they just finished round 5, and
Hmm.
currently it's the Mainland Tactics and the Northern Mystics who are on top of the table, and both of them have 4 wins and 1 loss, and they play. I think they play 10 rounds before they have a playoff series. But what I found really interesting, and I wasn't actually too aware of this until I just started tuning in a little bit, but this year they've brought in a 2 point line.
Okay,
The
what's
netball's
that?
always traditionally just been point for point.
Mm-hmm.
You shoot it in from under the hoop somewhere. But the likes of there's a hybrid competition called Fast Five in netball, which has grown in popularity, and that in the Fast Five, so five-a-side instead of seven, they have this 2 point line, which is, if you think of basketball, it's like a 3 point line. It's further back, but in netball, it's 3.5 meters back. It's a long shot. They make the top shooters can shoot it at about 60%, but the average is 51% of the time they hit it, and it's worth double. So I've just been thinking actually how that begins to change the sport. So this is the biggest change they've ever made to netball.
Mm-hmm.
And the comparison that I read about was it was similar to when they moved from outdoor netball to indoor netball. And so how that changed the sport with the weather and the likes of those sort of things. So yeah, bringing in this 2 point line, it can mean teams can catch up quickly, or actually they can extend out, and maybe you even have a specialist who shoots those long range ones. So I'm actually interested to tune in and watch a bit more and just see how the teams utilize it and how that changes things, you know?
Do you know why they made the changes? Was it to make the game more interesting for viewers, or is it because actually that was just where it was going? So let's sort of do what the teams are wanting to do anyway.
I think it was probably viewership and more excitement. And you've seen that with rugby over the years. They've changed the rules. They changed things for a couple of reasons. One is for safety, to stop people getting injured. But secondly is to make a more exciting product. And I guess revenue drives that. You want more people coming to watch and a more exciting version of the sport, which I watch a lot of rugby, so I've seen some of the advantages of that. Sometimes they push it too far and they bring in bizarre rules. As far as netball, I'm not sure exactly, but it seems like in the sort of those hybrid sped up versions of the sport that maybe there was more excitement around it and people wanted to see something different.
Yeah.
And, if you're down by 10 or 20, that actually you could come back quickly. That makes things more exciting, right?
Yeah. Well, look, I was thinking in terms of the players as well. You know, if you're a professional netball player, you've been playing the game since you're a wee thing, and you know how it goes. You've got your strengths, you have your challenges. But a change like this is possibly going to be quite hard on those players, right?
Yeah, definitely. And thinking from the athlete's point of view, right? And here at Athletes in Action, I'm always trying to think of the athlete and how they're processing things and how we can come alongside them. And so, yeah, I've just been thinking a little bit about that as well. For a netballer, like you said, playing from a young age. My daughter's 5. She's just started playing netball. You know, there's hundreds and hundreds of girls, and then they go right through the grades and playing in a certain way. That can be really challenging. I think from a Christian perspective, knowing the things that would help me in that situation, and I think would help these athletes is, hey, God's in control. You know, look into that big picture, and maybe we need to adapt over time and change how we're viewing it. You know, maybe you are that specialist in the under the post hitting those ones. Well, those are still valuable. Maybe you're actually good at that long shot, and so that actually works into your skill set. I think in sport, there's often things outside of our control, whether that be us making a team, a coach's view of us, the team that we're on. In team sports, sometimes you're on a great team, and sometimes your team is the one that's bottom of the table. And so actually surrendering those things to God and saying, hey, Lord, you're in control of this. I want to trust you with the abilities and the talents you've given me and the opportunity. I believe God gives different opportunities to us, and actually trusting him in the midst of that.
Yeah.
Still giving it our all and trying to glorify him through how we play. But those challenges, it's the same with injuries or losses, those things that can really derail us. Yeah.
There's
Yeah, interesting one with netball. I want to see how it plays out.
Yeah, me too, actually. And look, I am someone who's never really had much to do with netball, but it does sound very interesting indeed. Jono, it is always great to catch up, to talk all things sports. Thank you for all that you do there at Athletes in Action. If people do want to find out more about the kind of work that you do, working with university students, how do they find out more?
Yeah, good question. I'd say if you're an athlete listening and you want to check out what we're about, we have a presence here in Auckland and the North Island, but also in the South Island. So I'd say get in touch, look us up on Instagram, AIA_NZ, or check out our website. And then secondly, the end of this month, we actually have a conference called Pursue Conference we're running. It's a three-night conference for athletes. It's going to be in Mangawai, so near the Auckland region. But if you want to come along and spend some time with other athletes that are learning what does it mean to follow God in the midst of competition, then check us out, get in touch online, and we'd love to have you come and be a part of the community.
Thanks, Jono. It's great to catch up.
Awesome. Thanks, Di.
Thanks for joining us on Rhema. Now, if you found value in today's content, hit that like button. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel with the subscribe button. This really helps us to continue to produce more quality content for you. And hey, if you'd like to stay updated and never miss any of our future videos, ring that notification bell as well. Don't forget to follow us on our other socials, which are in the description below. And until then, stay tuned.